Hello, everyone, and welcome to our show, Let's Talk Sarcoidosis. I'm your host, Dorothea Howard, and my co-host is Mr. Lawrence Franklin. How are you, Lawrence?
I'm doing great, Dorothea.
Wonderful.
Looking forward to today's show.
Oh, absolutely. We have a great show for you today. Mr. Richard Hanner is a financial advisor. He is also a licensed representative. Mr. Hanner has been working with the private sector of finances for over 10 years. He's helped hundreds of families and businesses with financial matters, wealth creations, and wealth transfer. Mr. Hanner has served his country as an officer in the U.S. Army. I would like to say thank you for serving our country, Mr. Hanner. He's also worked as a school teacher in the Business Finance Academy, served as a volunteer member of the board of the Academy of Finance right here in Prince George's County. He is here to help us today and to answer general questions about financial wellness. Welcome, Mr. Hanner.
Well, thank you for having me. I'm very honored to be here.
And we're glad to have you on the show to answer all the questions that our viewers may be looking for answers to.
We're going to go ahead and start our show. Richard, what made you get involved in financial services?
Well, what got me involved, Larry, was that I had been teaching, and what I noticed is that a lot of school teachers, they did a noble job, but they weren't really getting the full advantages of utilizing their paycheck. And I said something had to be missing because everybody had the education, but they weren't beating the check cycle. And I just started researching what was going on. And then I found out that it wasn't really how much you made, it was how much you kept. Oh. And then, what's some of the things you don't learn in school, like they had a home economics class, but they didn't teach anything about economics. Mm-hmm. And I said, well, how can the teachers teach if they don't even know it? Wow. So that's what got me involved, wanted to make a difference in my community.
Great. Can you explain to us what is personal finance?
Personal finance, and I'm going to give you the dictionary definition, then I'll expound on it.
Okay.
Personal finance is financial management, which an individual or family unit is required to do, obtain a budget, save and spend monetary resources over time while taking into account various financial risks and future events. And most people don't even know it's something you're supposed to do. Most people learn it by the school of hard knocks. So like if I asked you, well, who taught you about money? And if I asked you the question, who taught you about money, what would you say?
I'd say probably I taught myself.
Yourself, right? Right? What about
you? I would say the same thing.
Yep, and that's the number one answer, self-taught, school of hard knocks.
Okay.
You were told to go get a job, keep your nose clean, leave happily ever after. Something was missing in that.
Right.
Something was missing in that, and that's where personal finance comes into play, because it's something you're supposed to do, but you don't even know you're supposed to do it.
Wow.
That's interesting.
That's interesting. So why is it important for everyone to have an updated, professional updated financial plan?
Okay. The reason it's important is because when you're planning your finances, an individual is also supposed to consider suitability for his or her needs. They're supposed to look at different products, not just checking and savings, but also when it comes to health insurance, life insurance, disability, when it's retirement planning, if they're trying to transfer money to their grandchildren, things like of that nature, things that happen throughout your life, because during your life you're going to have different events. You're born, then you go to school, then you graduate, then you look either have a home, buy a car, get married, then you might have grandchildren, then they go to school, and then you're looking at retirement. So all these things happen throughout your life, and all these things, it's going to take money to live the lifestyle you want to.
That's true. And I mean, for our viewers, can you explain to them what is life insurance?
Okay. Life insurance is simply a contract between a policyholder and a company, meaning that you're going to pay a premium every month, and in the event of your death, they're going to pay your beneficiary, either a lump sum or payments. And so all it is really is a contract that is going to replace your income. It can't replace you. A policy does not replace a life. It replaces the income that life was providing for their family.
Oh, okay. That's interesting to know. Now, Larry and I represent only a small percentile of, people who are diagnosed with sarcoidosis. So for people like us and all the hundreds of thousands of people out there who have been diagnosed with sarcoidosis, should we apply for life insurance?
Yes, everyone should apply.
Okay.
And when you have been diagnosed with a disease or you're taking any medication, you need to let the person know that's taking your application everything up front. In most cases, when you have any type of disease or taking any, they'll take it what they call COD, meaning you're only going to pay once you get approved. So you're going to go through the complete underwriting process. It won't cost you a dime. All right. And then you'll know right up front if you're covered or not, and you don't risk it losing any money.
Okay, well, that's good for all the viewers that definitely let us know that they have problems of obtaining life insurance for whatever reasons. At least they can have some clarity about, who should apply for life insurance and can we get life insurance. So what are some of the other alternatives to life insurance?
Okay. There's several alternatives. One thing I don't want to miss is that, not only should you apply for your life insurance, but apply for your health insurance. As you know, we have the Affordable Care Act out there. You need to enroll in that. Also, if you are diagnosed with a disease, make sure you apply for all your benefits, includes SSDI, get an attorney to help you with the process. Make sure that you're doing everything you can. So you apply for everything you can get, and it's not going to hurt you to apply for everything you can. Some alternatives it's called self-insurance. Okay, families do this when they have a loved one they can't get insurance, or people have money saved up. And I've had a client, in the PG County area who couldn't qualify for insurance, but they had money set aside. And I said, look, let's take a percentage of that money. Let's save, put it on the side. We can put it in a guaranteed account that's going to grow with a guaranteed death benefit. Now they still outliving what they thought they were, and the money is growing, but it locks in every year and it steps up. So that is a great alternative. And then if they didn't have a lump sum of money, they could have put money in that and save it just for specific things. People also can plan, make their arrangements ahead of time. My grandmother did that. She did her arrangements ahead of time, and made those plans. And so it's different things depending on your personal situation. That's why when you meet with a professional, they're going to look at your entire situation and then make those recommendations.
Okay, so they basically do a total assessment.
Yes.
Okay.
Richard, we talked a little bit about financial services and life insurance. Let's talk a little bit about debt management. Exactly what is debt management?
Okay. Debt management, for most people, is just managing to pay their bills.
Well, then we all do debt management.
I mean, really, because, some people don't even pay their bills. That's their management plan. And so, really, is when you get, when you have basically more bills coming in than money, now people are like juggling their bills. And so they paying the minimum fee, they're going on and they're trying to keep their head above water. And so what's happening, that's why most people can't get ahead, just trying to manage their debts. Okay. And then all they're doing, and they're trying to stop taking on more debt. And it's important that they do because they need to get to the next step.
Okay, so what is the difference between debt management and debt elimination?
Right. Debt elimination is putting yourself in a situation where your debts are gone. Using the same money that you're trying to pay the bills, because I meet so many people that are paying their bills, but they can't get ahead, and they just don't have the process of what they should pay off first. So debt elimination is simply what it says. It's eliminating your debts, but using a systematic way of doing that.
So what should I pay off first? If I'm looking to eliminate all of my debt, what should I pay off first? Should it be my car, my home, the credit cards? Can you?
Yep. In most cases, is your credit cards, and then on the back end, student loans or the home. And so when you sit with a financial advisor, they're going to look at everything that you have and then put it in order. And if they are good at helping you get out of debt, then they'll put together a program that will show you, all right, this is going to be paid off here, this is going to be paid off here. And then some people, they're in a situation they can accelerate a payment. a lot of people I find are paying extra money and still not getting ahead. So they have to sit down
Wow.
with somebody who can definitely show them and give them the end date when they'll be totally debt free.
So what are the types of savings accounts we should all have?
Okay. Most people should have 3 accounts. They
Three
should-
accounts?
Yep. They should have
Okay.
a short term, mid-term, and a long-term account. All right. The short term can be for emergency or something, or the next car they're going to buy. The mid-term account is things that they know they're going to have expenses coming up that they're going to use within the next 5 to 10 years. And then the long-term account is things that they're looking for retirement or for transferring money to loved ones.
Oh, okay. So with all that being said, you said 3 different accounts. Then, well, where should we save our money?
Okay. All right. Contrary to popular belief, the banks weren't designed for you to put your money there long term.
Really?
They were designed for short term, make your payments, pay your bills. So they're always going to be necessary. But you should be using investment vehicles like money market accounts, mutual funds, and annuities. So you should be using different types of investment outside of your banks. Have y'all ever heard the statement, never put all your eggs
In one
basket. Yeah.
Okay,
Yes.
well, that holds true to today. But
Okay.
how many people do you know, they have everything at the bank?
Wow,
Well, what happens if the bank gets in trouble?
true.
Yeah.
And that has happened.
And by the way, when the next time they did the bailouts, they bailed out the investment companies first, the banks last.
Wow. Well, I mean, sometimes that's a little difficult, though, for especially people that are ill. And I've known many people that have gotten disability checks for being diagnosed with sarcoidosis. They don't really get a lot of money. So it's kind of hard to have, all this money spread around
It
for the
is.
accounts or anybody that's ill for that matter.
It is. And so, again, this is where education comes into play. Because now, if you're on a fixed income, no one's going to be able to work miracles.
Right.
But what we find is that when you sit with someone and you took over their budget, not putting them on a budget, but seeing, okay, when this money comes in, where's it going?
Right.
I tend to find that there are things they're spending on like lunch, coffee, gifts, things that they're spending money on that if we could curtail that just a little bit, that not forever, but for now, where at the end of the month you might not have any Chinese food, but you're gonna have some money.
Or coffee.
Yeah. And so, I mean, who needs it more, Starbucks or
Right.
you? So,
Well, that's true. And I guess my next question is, what are the types of educational savings accounts then?
okay. And so, what we have out there is the Coverdale account, the Coverdale Educational Savings Account, and the 529 plans. And these are 2 great tools. And it's just, and when you have to know how to utilize them, because the Coverdale account, you can put $2,000 in a year, and that can be for any educational expenses, where the 529 plans are targeted directly for college. So we train people, when we work with the clients, we talk about, okay, and families can do it together. So not all on one person. So if the person,
Right.
you have somebody that has sarcoidosis or has any disease, and but they have a child that needs to go to school, the family can come together and put money in. And so we get with the families, because the disease doesn't affect one person, it affects everybody.
That's a good point. It does affect families.
We're going to talk a little bit about one of my favorite subjects. Lately, it's been one of my favorite subjects. That's retirement. How much should we save on our jobs towards retirement?
Okay, it's a great question. Because oftentimes, and it's whether you're in the public sector or you work privately, if there's a match program, find out the percentage of the match and max that percentage, because they only match what they're willing to put in. I always say it's like the Titanic. If the ship go down, we going down together, but equally.
Right.
And so only do what they're doing.
What should we use, or should we use any other vehicle outside of our jobs?
Absolutely. Every person should have an individual retirement account, an IRA, okay, a Roth and a traditional. Okay, every person should have. That's why they came up with it, to subsidize what you're getting. Because even on the best retirement plan, it's only going to pay you a maximum about 40% of what you're used to spending. And most people, you say today, can you live off 40% of your check right now? Okay,
Well,
that's a problem.
probably.
All right. Then I say we need to meet because you need to subsidize that because that's what you're retired. They're not getting the benefit off of you
Right,
anymore because
right.
you're not working. So they're not going to put more money into it. You can go
Right.
in and ask your boss today, can you give me the other 60% I need? No, they're going to press the button for security and send you out the door. So you have to do it outside of your job. There is no other choice.
What about after I retire? How long should my money last? That seems to be a concern of everybody.
That's the biggest concern today. Will I outlive my money?
Right,
And
right.
in most cases, yes, you will. Because the average person has about 5 to 10 years of living the lifestyle they're accustomed to for that money to last. And so
Jeez.
you have two choices. You can either start planning ahead so you don't have to go back to work, or you're going to go back to work. And for some people, they can get a job getting a consultant where they were at. But for most, they're going to get whatever job they can find because now they're making choices between medicine and food and things like that.
Right.
So it's better to plan ahead and foresee what's coming.
And one of the things that I see that folks are doing now is they're looking at their family history. I think that plays a part
Yes.
in how they plan their retirement and know when to retire and things like that.
Yes.
Yeah.
And using that family history is very important because one of the things in retirement most people haven't done is the long-term care. Because a lot of people will, all right, like if I asked you a question, when you plan to retire, what age you want to retire?
I never really think about it because I'm not near there yet. However, for me, honestly, I would say probably about 65 or maybe 70, but 65 I'll be comfortable saying.
Well, that's what she's saying. I'm saying 59 for me is when I'm planning to retire.
And that was a trick question because retirement is not an age, it's a number. When you have enough money to maintain a lifestyle you want to live, you can retire.
Right.
Okay, so, but we're tricked into thinking, oh, it's got to be that age.
Right.
And then, so what happens when you get to that age and the number's not there? You don't retire. So it really is the number.
That's
it's not
true.
the age because most
Right.
people took a hit in 2008. And I always ask every employee, whether they're federal, local, I say, can you afford another 2008? Okay, then we need to make some adjustments because even on the best federal plan, they have options they don't even know about. They don't even teach them that
Right.
you have options to safeguard this money. And that's where, someone like myself comes in to show them that.
Right. So for our viewers out there, and most of the viewers I know they have sarcoidosis, or they may know family members who have the illness, or they just want the educational information about this disease. What do we need to do as people to get started?
Okay. First, you got to gather up all your financial documents, anything you're dealing with financially. And whether you think it's big or small, have it gathered all together. And most people have stuff everywhere. Even if they have a box of stuff, it's just a box of papers. They don't even know what it is, how it works. And you first got to sort through all those things. And that's step one, get everything together. And then bring it to someone like me who's willing to go through it like a detective and explain it to you.
Right, right.
'Cause
Well, that's the
knowledge.
most important part,
You
is
need
learning,
to
right?
know what you have.
Yes,
You can't afford
exactly.
not to know it.
Right.
Yeah, because I hear a lot of people at work talking about retiring, and they said, oh yeah, when I retire, I'm going to travel the world, I'm going to do all of this, I'm going to do all that. Well, they can't do it now. What makes you think you're going to do it when you retire?
Yes.
That's right, Larry.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. I mean, you don't want, well, my feeling is you don't want to wait until you retire to enjoy your life.
Exactly.
And like Richard said, that it's a number and not the actual age. So, all the things about, yes, I would like to retire by this age and that age, and then why people feel that they have to wait until that age to do something.
And if you were taking a trip, planning a trip anywhere, you would know every number, how we were going to stay, where we're
That's
going to
true.
stop, how long we're going to travel. You want to know all the things between start and stop to your destination. What
Absolutely.
the hotel costs. Are we splitting the cost for food? You would do all of that, but you won't take a minute to do it for your retirement.
Wow. Jeez. So the thing is, how long is that process? I mean, is it lengthy that, some people just say, I don't want to do it because, they just don't feel like going through the process. Because I know with different things, sometimes that process can make people a little hesitant about starting things they need to start.
Right. And that's why working with a professional is so important. Because if you gather your paperwork and you bring it to someone like me, I can do all of that within a week.
Wow.
And meet with you and go over where you are, what your options are, and just lay it out for you. Where at the least you're going to know what you have and how everything works.
And, just thinking about that, I think this is an important question as well. Say the viewers, they want to meet with you. Is there a cost affiliated with them meeting with you initially to discuss this whole process?
No, there's no cost. But what I tell people, it's a commitment, though. Because I say, if I'll do this, you'll do this. Meaning that if you're serious and you want to get your affairs in order, I need you to commit to getting your information, coming in, setting your follow-up appointments, doing the due diligence, because it's going to be a process.
Right.
Especially if we're dealing with someone that have disease or different things like that and they care about their families. It's a process, so it's not one and done. And all I ask for the clients in return is just refer me to someone else. They won't pay me a dime. They'll just refer me.
Now the telephone will be ringing.
Yes.
The telephone will be ringing.
Richard, I want to go back to your question about, your comments about the insurance, because it's the long-term disability insurance is, I think it's pretty important.
Yes.
And just what are your thoughts on the long-term disability insurance?
First of all, it's the most important thing going on in America now. It's not televised. And why? Because the largest group of people, the baby boomers, are all going into retirement at the same time.
Yes.
And the majority of them go out on disability before retirement. So it's like you wake up one day and what if you need help get into the bathroom? Who's going to help you? If you're single or even if you're married, it's like your spouse, both of y'all working. Now one of the key breadwinners can't work anymore. So it's going to cost money to have someone sit with you, help you, even if it's just getting you going in the morning or having somebody stop by. So long-term care, long-term health care is huge. It's something that you got to have. If you don't plan for it, what the government requires is for you to spend down everything you saved up to $2,500, period, to your name. And that's not what you worked for all your life to give your money back to government.
Right.
So you can avoid
true.
that by applying for the long-term health care and having it in place, because no one can look at you and say, oh, you're always going to be able to walk.
So real quick,
That's
I'm not
true.
sure if you can answer this or not, but what's the difference between the short-term care and the long-term care?
Okay.
Yeah.
Normally, after 90 days, people on the job have like what they call short-term disability. Okay, and that'll last enough, basically saying like 6 to 12 months to get them back on the job.
Okay.
Long-term, they're not coming back.
Okay.
Okay, and it's in most cases it could be a year or two. So it depends on what they're diagnosed with.
Okay.
So if you got long-term disability, it's longer than that. And so for each person, it kicks in after the other one runs out.
Okay.
And so it's going to help, even if, let's say you have a loved one, it helps pay them a salary to take care of you in most plans.
Wow, that's really interesting. And just out of curiosity, how much do you think each family, and these are just approximate numbers, should realistically have saved for any type of emergencies, or someone, like you said, the spouse or loved ones in the family get ill, such as us with sarcoidosis and many people that have any kind of illness? What's the numbers, the real number?
Okay, two things I want to say on that. All right, in general rule of thumb, to save up money, you have to have 6 to 12 months of your salary saved up
Okay.
to cover 6 to 12 months of your bills. Okay, even if that's whether you lost your job for any reason or you got disabled. And if you have two people that's a couple together, what you need to do is make decisions based off of one paycheck in the beginning. Start
Off of
right.
one paycheck? Okay.
Because if one goes down, the other one doesn't have to worry. Because I've had had it happen in my family personally, where both of them had good jobs, but their financial advisor at the time said, "Let's make all plans off of one check." And
Smart.
when my loved one, got diagnosed with a debilitating disease and could not work. Her spouse never had to worry about paying the mortgage, pulling the kids out of private school, you know, doing anything because they had made all decisions based off the one check.
Right.
Wow.
Do you find that most people just don't like to talk about that subject?
Oh, it's they don't, but they have to learn to, because it's like without a financial education, you fall behind. You don't even know how much to ask for a raise.
Right.
You don't understand the difference, but the percentage you're getting on a rate of return. You don't understand what the bank is really guaranteeing you. You know, so a financial education, you know, ignorance will cost you way more than a formal education ever will. So
Okay.
you just don't know.
Well, you know, Richard, you have given us some great information today. And believe it or not, the time has come for us to end the show. And I'm sure that the viewers took note, and you'll get calls and emails and to further assist them in any capacity that you can. We definitely want to thank you for dedicating some time to come out on the show to help us,
Thank
to
you
let
very
us
much.
know
Thank
what
you.
we need.
Yes.
And we always say, remember, we
both
have
have
sarcoidosis, but sarcoidosis doesn't have us. Until next time, be blessed.